Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live. Let me tell you, the dopamine, it's flowing.
I am damn excited. Damn excited.
We are so excited to be joining you guys tonight.
Oh!
Well, how you doing, man? Patrick.
Will Sterling.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Oh, he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score! And we'll see you next week, but until then, as always, go Chiefs.
Welcome. This is Freaky Friday on the Arrowhead Addict channel. I'm Adam Best, joined by Sterling Holmes and producer Richard. Sterling, have you seen this thing with the Bengals that's going on today?
I have not seen. I mean, that could be a plethora of things. I mean, it's the Bengals, so they're screwing up somehow, I assume.
They are indeed screwing up, but not in the way you would probably think. So this upcoming October for the Jets game in Cincinnati, they're having like one of these Legends weekends where they invite former Bengals great players to come back, kind of come on the field during halftime, I'm imagining, and kind of, wave to the fans, kind of make a show of the thing. And usually what happens in these situations is the team foots the bill, right? They put the players in first class, nice hotel rooms. They're giving you box suites. Not the Bengals. To paraphrase Moneyball, they like to keep the soda money on the field, right? So what are the Bengals doing? These players have to pay for their own flights. They have to pay for their own hotel rooms. Oof. And they don't have box suites. They have regular tickets. And if they get 2 tickets, but if they want a third one, they have to splurge on that themselves. So this is the ultimate poverty franchise move. Even Bengals, people that cover the Bengals are saying this is a poverty franchise move. Just unbelievable. And I figure before the season starts, if there's one thing that unites Bills fans, Ravens fans, and Chiefs fans, it's dunking on the Bengals, right?
And they just make it so damn easy.
One other bit of housekeeping. You and I haven't got to talk about FAU, and you are the king of the sunk cost fallacy. I'm a veteran of multiple startups. I like to say fail fast. I'm wearing my Kenny Rogers shirt today. You got to know when to hold them, got to know when to fold them. I think we got to fold them on FAU officially. I think it's over.
No.
Okay. What are we saying? What are we saying no to? Like,
well, they moved on from Sky Moore, so there you go. There's the sunk cost, and they got something back because nice. FAU is one of those guys that I'll somehow always have some sort of semblance that he could be not a great player, but like a NFL rotational guy. Like it's so hard for me to see a guy like FAU who in 6 snaps a game flashes for 3. Like he flashes on a basis percentage wise that is strong. I will say this. It has to be the system to an extent because he's playing in a 4-3, and that's not really where he's best suited. He needs to line up as far outside as he possibly can, almost like an outside linebacker type of role, and just try and go straight line speed, be bendy, and use that athleticism. It's not working here. And maybe you're right, and that's kind of saying the same thing of trade him because the time in KC has come to an end. But if you told me that he goes to another team where his system and his fit, they coincide and match, could I see him being a guy who gets, 4 sacks a year, 4.5 to 5? Could he be a Mike Dana-esque type of different style, but rotational piece in another team system? I could see it. I could buy it. He's still really, really young. But I do think you're right. Maybe his time in KC, it's probably over.
Mike Dana, he was a 5th round pick, and he flashed much earlier than FAU. And really where I see FAU mainly flashing is on like TFLs against the run. And you're kind of saying he needs to be more of a Hassan Reddick or a Nick Benito and have kind of a specialized role. I don't know that he's that fast as those guys, but maybe I could see it. Again, like with Sky Moore, when things just aren't, it's plain to see that things aren't working out. Sometimes a fresh start is best for everybody. I wonder the Chiefs are kind of patient and loyal to a fault sometimes. I think it's one of their greatest strengths. And occasionally it turns into weakness. It works out more than it doesn't, but I'm kind of thinking they'll probably stick with him another year throughout all this. But I remember a time when we were talking about the ceilings of George Karlaftis and FAU, and I wondered, based on athletic ability alone, if FAU had a higher ceiling. That is clearly not going to be the case in the NFL. George Karlaftis has won that battle by an embarrassing margin. So
yeah.
Not much more to say there. Just something that we didn't touch on yesterday in the OG hour. I thought I'd address with that injury looking like it's going to sideline him. Who knows how long, right? So we have a preseason game, the last preseason game, in a matter of hours here. So we're going to do a very quick preview of Bears at Chiefs. The first thing I want us to do here, Sterling, is let's both of us guess how many plays and how many minutes the offensive starters will play. The offensive line is kind of a different thing. I'm really talking about Mahomes, Kelsey, Rice, Worthy, Pacheco, like that kind of group of 5 players.
I think that the starters, offensive starters is hard. Are we counting minutes as in total game minutes, or are we talking about just offensive minutes? Like, I think they play the first quarter. Like, okay. I think they play the full first quarter. So however long the offense is on the field for in the first quarter. So is it 6 minutes, 9 minutes, 750? Like, it could be 15. No, like however long the first quarter the offense is on the field for. So that's my specific answer.
I was going to say in between 6 and 7 minutes, 12 and 13 plays, maybe 14, somewhere like that. I don't think it's going to be that long. I think they're probably going to come out, have an efficient drive, score. They're probably going to have a second drive where they get a little bit more conservative. Then they're going to get the hook.
I'll say, what is that? I'll give it 18 plays because that's bad. I was going to say, is that two? Will they get 2.5 or 3 possessions in the first? An average game, anywhere from 9 to 12 possessions you'll receive. That's a good one. That's a good question.
I think if they come out and look super sharp and put together, engineer a 10-play scoring drive where Mahomes looks phenomenal and everyone's cooking, Andy Reid may just give them the vaudeville cane and say, we're done. We're done here. I have seen what I need to see. Let's just put these guys in bubble wrap and make it to Brazil. Personally, I don't need to see a lot of 15. And I was making the argument yesterday. I want to know what you think of this, that Mahomes is such a well-oiled machine at this point. He's played with all of these guys, maybe not all these guys together, because we didn't really see Pacheco, Worthy, and Rice together a lot last season. And by the time we did, maybe 3 games we saw that?
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, Pacheco, Worthy, and Rice. Yeah, I thought you meant Hollywood. I'm like,
no, and then you throw in Hollywood, and that foursome has never been together.
No.
So if Hollywood plays tonight, which is
one play, it was one play. The preseason when Hollywood got injured.
Oh yeah. That's it. So, but I think Gardner Minshew, you saw him working with Creed Humphrey and not really having that chemistry down yet. Creed is a left-handed center, I believe. I think maybe the only starting one in the NFL. So you really want that backup center to have a rapport with some of those starters, because heaven forbid Mahomes has to miss a quarter or a game or two. We've seen that before, knock on wood. We want Gardner Minshew to be ready. And I think Gardner Minshew is one of the best backups in the NFL now. I think someone had a ranking of the top 10 backups that didn't have him on the list. And I found that appalling, At worst, he's like the 7th or 8th backup. At worst, I think he's probably top 3 or 4.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you there. To me, the offensive line, I want to see Mahomes out there for a little bit because we haven't seen him much. There were still so many issues with the offensive line last year. Can he trust the left side? I know no one wants to see him out there a ton just because of the injury potential, which again, rare, but it happens. I would rather see Mahomes than Kelsey out there. Like, I don't need to see Kelsey out there. I want to see Mahomes with Josh Simmons and Kingsley Sumatia out there. I want to see him with some of the receivers out there. I don't need to see Kelsey. I don't really need to see Chris Jones out there.
No, sir.
I don't mind seeing Mahomes out there trying to still get a little. I mean, Brownlee's probably not making the team, and that's the guy he threw the touchdown pass to, right? Like, let's see him get a little bit with Royals or Rasheed or Hollywood or Xavier. Throw a couple of deep balls out there. See how the left
Tyquan
side
Thornton,
up.
right?
Tyquan Thornton. See how the left side holds up on a couple of longer developing plays and go from there. That's what I would like to see.
And Mahomes kind of famously says he gets that first hit, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm here." It's like Mike Tyson used to say, "Everyone has a plan until they get hit." So I think he likes to just
punched in the face, I believe, is the exact terminology.
So he wants that to happen once, and once that happens, he's ready for the regular season, and he doesn't need to do anything else. We're going to do the same thing we did last week. I thought it was a fun exercise. All eyes on them, players to watch. We gamify a lot of things here on Freaky Friday. So game preview draft. Each of us are going to pick 5 players that we are watching tonight with a keen eye. I'm going to try to pick different guys from last week just to mix it up a little bit. I don't remember exactly who we picked, but I think we have somewhat of an idea. I'll let you go first. Who are you watching tonight?
Jalen Moore.
Okay.
I don't know what the Chiefs' game plan is. The reason why I say Jalen Moore, how much left guard does he play, if at all? If he plays no left guard, that means I don't think he's in the running if Kingsley struggles. I think that means that's Mike Caliendo. If we see him at left guard, that makes me believe that, all right, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Kingsley, and if he struggles like he did last year, it's not Caliendo they turn to, it'll be Jalen Moore. I just wonder if they're they're saving Jalen Moore in case of an injury with Juwan Taylor, who will not play on turf, or at least does not practice on turf still. So are there any lingering concerns with that knee? I find that at least a little intriguing, or at least something to monitor, I would say. Are they waiting just to see, hey, Josh Simmons looks good so far, but we thought Kingsley looked good last year, and then we saw how that transpired. So I do wonder if they're just waiting for if a tackle issue arises, they want to make sure that he's ready to go and healthy. If he's playing left guard, then he has to move to tackle. Then you have multiple moving pieces. We know Andy doesn't like to do that. That's why they were so begrudgingly wanting to eventually have to move Joe Thuney from guard to tackle, because you have to find a new guard. Now you're affecting 2 positions versus 1. So if Moore plays left guard, that tells me that he's the next man up anywhere on the offensive line, not just at tackle.
Oh, I don't know what they're going to do there. I would like to see Jalen Moore at left guard tonight, because I just don't think Kingsley Sumatia is ready to protect the most valuable quarterback in the game. I just don't think. There's too far to go. As a run blocker, he's there. That's not what matters most in Kansas City. I understand in a perfect world you want Jalen Moore to be your security blanket, since you have actually both of your tackles are coming off of knee procedures, right? They're both coming off of knee injuries. Josh Simmons and Juwan Taylor had the cleanup. Juwan Taylor has had issues with penalties. Josh Simmons is a rookie. So if anything goes wrong with one of them, you love for Jalen Moore to be kind of your backup there, your swing tackle. But if Sumatia is not ready, I think you have to forego that and put him in at guard and hope that your tackles hold up. And if they don't, then you can go back to Kingsley or Mike Caliendo or whatever. But yeah, I don't think we've seen enough Jalen Moore with the starters. I would love to see some of that tonight. My first name is Isaiah Pacheco. I think we've seen some promising signs with Isaiah Pacheco, that he's the guy that started last season. He's the guy from a couple years ago, and not the guy that we saw in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, a compromised version of himself, because this is, I know he's got the funny run. He runs like he's, the ground owes him rent money or whatever, but he is, his size adjusted athleticism is elite. And I think he was showing some signs, some limited signs as a pass catcher and pass protector. And the other thing is, Diana Rossini reported yesterday that the Chiefs are in the trade market for a running back.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out if this is about the entire running back room, or if this is about, we feel good about Isaiah Pacheco, but the other guys, we really need that Jerick McKinnon guy. I think that's what it is, but I'm not 100% sure. And if Isaiah Pacheco comes out and looks awesome in a couple of drives tonight, I think that will tell us, that will be the intel we need. But Andy says that they have been very impressed and he looks good. So where are you at with Pacheco?
He's fine. I'm back to where I was when he was here and healthy a couple years ago. He's fine. He's a starting caliber NFL running back, but he's not as good as I think some of the supporters think he is. He's not as bad as some of the detractors think he is. He's a fine starting running back, right? He's not a bell cow. He's not a third down guy, but on first and second down, he's solid. We can live with it. We know the limitations. We also know the strength that he has. I'm cool with him being the starter. I think he is the starter. I think the Rossini report is the Elijah Mitchell writing on the wall situation. Brings me to Rashard Smith for my next one. I don't think Elijah Mitchell's making this team anymore. I don't think Carson Steele's making it. I think he's a practice squad guy in general. I don't think Elijah Mitchell's making it. And Rashard Smith, then, I want to see what he does as a runner as well as a punt returner. Sounds like, according to Tope, he's good in kick return. He's fine there. Punt returns where he needs to get better. Because right now there's no really backup punt returner on this team. If anything happens to Nico, which is helping Nico's case right now to make the roster.
Tyquan, maybe?
Has he done it? I mean, Sky Moore was basically your backup guy, and you just traded him. And Brashard, it sounds like, needs a lot of work. We've seen Royals occasionally try Noel Williams in practice a little bit. But it's basically just Nico and Brashard. So Brashard needs to improve there. So I want to see Brashard not just as a runner, but on special teams. And when it comes down to that running back spot, RB4, if you will, I don't think it's Carson Steele. I don't think it's Elijah Mitchell anymore. I think it's a very specific, specified runner that they would be intrigued in, almost like a Jalen Wright from Miami, right? A name like, you're not looking for a starter. You're looking for a very specific, specified Jet McKinnon-ish, a flavor you do not currently have. It has to be a cheap contract. It's going to be a guy that has to play special teams. It's going to be a guy that might not be active on game days a lot of the time because, I mean, they're going to keep 4 running backs and they're going to probably only activate 3, realistically. So you're looking for a very specific type of running back. Basically someone that's not Elijah Mitchell if you don't think he has any juice left. Someone who is a break in case of emergency if and when an injury happens to the running back room.
The name I keep proposing is Rachaad White. I think Breece Hall and Travis Etienne, those kind of guys are unobtainable. But you look at a guy that might be, he's definitely second, if not third, on that Tampa Bay depth chart. Last year, his contract isn't outrageous. He's from Kansas City. Not a good rusher, really, but a great pass catcher, a great pass protector. That's what they need. And I think a lot of Chiefs fans are like missing the bygone era of bell cow running backs. You know, you guys like Priest Holmes and Larry Johnson. Those days are just kind of gone in the NFL. And I think what's better to do than that, if you don't have a Saquon Barkley, is to take an Isaiah Pacheco and a Jerick McKinnon and Frankenstein that player together using 2 players. And I think that's what they're looking for. My next player is Carson Steele, because Carson Steele, if you're going to keep 4 running backs and keep them active, Carson Steele does some things for you because he plays fullback, right? And the other thing he does, if you're thinking about where kind of the de facto running game is in the NFL and with the Chiefs, they're going to use Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy as runners, right? They're going to do jet sweeps, end arounds, all these kind of things. And if you have Carson Steele in at halfback, you kind of activate a blocker for those guys on those plays. I just think with teams like the Bills and the Ravens offering these jumbo sets, whether it's the sixth lineman or the fullback, Carson Steele gives Andy Reid some flexibility that he likes. And I think he misses Blake Bell. I think he misses the Belldozer. And even though this is a sort of a different kind of player, he allows them to be multiple in a similar kind of way. I've been trying to wrap my head around Andy Reid's man crush on Carson Steele. And I just think it comes down to the versatility he offers them in terms of personnel packages.
For me, I'm going my third pick, Jared Wiley. I don't know if he's a lock to make the 53. Like, I think he is. I'm pretty convinced he is. But I think he's also going to be a guy, again, on the 53 who's going to be an inactive most game days. I don't know where he fits. I mean, activating 4 tight ends on game day feels a little overkill, right? If Nico's making the team, then you have 7 receivers, at least to start the year. Are you going to have 7 receivers and 4 tight ends on the 53? I don't think Wiley's, again, I don't know if he's getting cut or put on the practice squad, because would he even make it to a practice squad? Probably not. But I also don't know if he's a lock, because when you start doing some of the rosters and number crunches, it starts getting tight. And that's 11. That is 11 dudes if you're keeping Nico in the receiving tight end room. So I think Jared Wiley needs to show something today.
He was on my list last week. I think we saw him separate a little bit, get open for a catch somewhat early in that game, but really he's being outplayed by Big Bob Tonyan.
It's not close.
Who's been a revelation. Maybe the surprise of Chiefs training camp and preseason. I don't think that's really a stretch to say. So I'll be watching him as well. And I think in Kansas City, we know he's obviously never going to be Travis Kelce, but we know that after a rookie tight end who was somewhat highly drafted suffers a knee injury in year 1, you probably want to be patient with that guy. So I don't think they want to put him on the practice squad, because I think he'd be gone like that. Next for me is Ashton Gelati, the rookie edge. Boy, do we need him now with this FAU situation. I just think he is more important than we even thought he was when he was drafted. And he was drafted pretty highly, right? When you're a top 100 pick, you're someone who's expected to contribute in year 1. Not necessarily be a starter. I don't think anyone expects that with Mike Dana and Charles Omenihu on the roster, let alone George Karlaftis. But I think we're really going to need this guy. Otherwise, the defensive line is going to play too many snaps, because what happens if Ashton Gelati comes out and holds his own and can give the Chiefs, 20 snaps a game, something like that? That allows Charles Omenihu to kick inside more. And that lightens the load on Mike Pinnell and Chris Jones, most of all, and Omar Norman-Lott. We are thin at defensive tackle. So I'd like to see a situation where maybe even Mike Dana can kick inside sometimes, right? Because I'm worried about the depth on the defensive line. So we need one of these rookies to pan out. To me, I think Ashton Gelati looks a little bit further along than Omar Norman-Lott. So that's a guy I have eyes on tonight.
I think one that's fairly interesting is Cooper McDonald, linebacker. No one's talked about. I'm starting to hear some rumblings. And is he a guy that's going to make it over? Let's just say that what's Jack Conklin, if he's injured, does he make it over Cam Jones? I've heard some intriguing things.
Okay.
I'm going to keep an eye on Cooper McDonald. He was nowhere near my radar until today. And I will be watching that today. So, Cooper McDonald.
You've had your ear to the grindstone, and there have been some whispers, some rumblings about Cooper McDonald. It sounds like he has a shot to make the team, is what you're saying?
chance. I don't know if it's a great chance, but I'm just going to keep my eyes on him. Yes.
I'm going to go with Tyquan Thornton. Right. I've kind of been assuming that he makes the team. Sky Moore being gone is definitely that looks like a sign of confidence when it comes to the Chiefs and how they feel about their wide receiver depth. But when I originally penciled him in for the 53, that was when I thought Rashee Rice was going to be suspended for the opening 4, 6, 8 games. Now that Rashee Rice is probably going to be there and playing in Brazil, there might be one less receiver spot. So you mentioned Nico Remigio. Man, I hate to see, as much as I appreciate what he did for the Chiefs last year, I hate to see them keep a guy just to be a returner, right? Given how frail Hollywood Brown has been, given the Rashee suspension, Xavier Worthy weighs $170 soaking wet. I just don't think this is the most durable wide receiver room. And I'd like to have another piece with some upside, really. Juju Smith-Schuster, again, how many games can we expect him to play for, given all the injuries he's had and his age? I don't even know if he's 30 yet, but he seems like he's 40, right? So I'll be watching Tyquan Thornton. The Patriots are known for kind of squandering wide receivers they've drafted. This goes way back with that franchise. So I'm just wondering if they found a gem. I'm looking at him and I'm seeing kind of an MVS player, a kind of an outside stretch guy who makes the defense respect his speed and maybe doesn't do a lot else, but that has value.
Yeah. My final one, Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton should be playing, right? Because Mike Edwards out, Jack Conklin out, Jake Brenningstool out, Ethan Driscoll out, Najee Johnson out, Omar Norman-Lott out, Jalen Royals out, right? That's the full list of outs. That means Christian Fulton should be playing. Need to see him. I was so excited when he was signed. I feel like he's a he's a good player who I think now in this system could be a legitimate great CB2, like a great CB2. Got to be healthy. He's a little bit like Hollywood Brown of the defense, where I think there is talent there. Consistency has not been, and injuries have piled up. I really want to see Christian Fulton look decent tonight. I don't even care if he looks great tonight. Just look decent tonight. Look healthy tonight. Get on the field and make a play or two. Christian Fulton is my last guy.
I'm torn, man. On one hand, I'm thinking Jaden Hicks, right? Because it's a little confusing to me. I think he's, if not the best safety on the roster right now, the best safety talent, and he will soon be the best safety on this roster. So it's kind of curious to me that he looks like he's third on the depth chart. He looks like he's the kind of the odd guy out there. And I'm not sure I love that if that's the case. We don't know exactly what the Chiefs are going to do with the slot. I think some of that is contingent on the health of Christian Fulton, like you mentioned. And then the other guy is Juwan Taylor, because the nugget that came out this summer that he was playing on a compromised knee, not to make too many excuses for him, but how much does that help him? Does he look a little bit more like the guy he did his first season in Kansas City, where I do think he was definitely a little bit better? And then especially the guy in Jacksonville who looked like a rising star. Can we get a better Juwan Taylor? Because if Juwan Taylor comes out and is the best version of himself, that right side of the line from Creed to Juwan Taylor is cooking. It gives them less potential weak links and also helps with Jalen Moore and what you can do with him. So I guess I'm kind of cheating here and saying those two guys. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Hicks in particular.
No, you're just giving like six guys. That's fine. And we'll allow it, I guess, but
hey man, it's tough pinpointing just five of these guys. They're actually, last week
hey, I'm Adam Best, and I have 73 dudes I'm really looking at this game.
Yes, just no respect for the confines of the exercise. I understand. I deserve that. I totally deserve that. But I just think I'm excited for tonight because last week was a week. I don't know if it was the starting time or the weather or Andy Reid's decision to, hey, let's hold everyone back for another week because they'll have more rest. Nobody on the Chiefs, save for a few guys like Big Bob Tonyan and Gardner Minshew, looked like they wanted to be in Seattle last week. So I'm hoping that tonight we at least get 10 minutes of solid Kansas City Chiefs football that can kind of like give us a little bit of good momentum heading into the season. I know the results don't matter. I don't care that they lost last week. It was just like one of the worst efforts I've ever seen the Chiefs in the preseason. Probably like, I don't know, 30 years of watching these preseason games. So dating myself, but it was not a very inspiring effort. But we've got a game in a mere matter of hours. Sterling, I think you're going to be on post game tonight.
Oh, am I? No, I don't think so. Maybe I might be. Am I supposed to? Richard, post the thing. Am I supposed to be on post game tonight? He says if I want to.
Mull it over.
I'm a regular season man. Come on.
Okay.
I'm a regular season guy. 720, 1020. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll think about it. It seems like it's a preseason game. Come on now. It's preseason.
I know.
I'm a regular season playoff man, quite frankly. I feel like I'm good. I have enough reps. I'm the Patrick. I'm sitting this one out.
Okay. All right.
I'm injured. If I'm not Patrick, I'll be Jake Briningstool. I'll just say I'm injured.
You're eventually going to get me, Patrick, Sterling, all of us together for the post game in the regular season. But tonight, I think it will probably just be myself, Patrick Allen, maybe a surprise appearance from someone, maybe someone on the show. I'm kind of doubting it right now. But
you might. I don't know. I could. We'll think about it.
Thanks to the chat. You guys always bring it. If you dig Arrowhead Addict, here's how you can help our community grow. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit like, do all the things. If you are an audio listener, Spotify, Apple, please consider leaving us a review. That really helps us out. And 5 stars. That's what's going to help us. And check out the mothership, arrowheadaddict.com. They are going to have blanket coverage of this game and what it means for the roster, for the final 53, and for the season the Chiefs are about to have. Join us live next Friday at 3 p.m. Central here on the Arrowhead Addict channel. Until then, go Chiefs.